if you're like me and live in a region where there's snowfall, you probably either have used, like I have in the corner there, shovels, or perhaps you've used a gas-powered snowblower. In my case, I'm trying to upgrade right from the shovels to an electric, battery-powered snowblower. And that's why you're here. You want to find out what you can about this particular battery-powered snowblower. Hello, I am Wanderer001, and this is my review of the EGO Power Plus 21-inch single-stage electric battery snowblower. I know that's a mouthful, but I'm putting it all out there so you know this is the exact model that you were looking for. Now, if you, like me, purchased this through Ace Hardware, you may notice that there are two different SQL numbers for this particular model. I want to let you know that the cheaper and more readily available model, their best-selling model, is actually this one, which comes with two 5-amp batteries. The one that's more expensive actually comes with two 7.5-amp batteries, which are the same batteries that are used on the 2-stage electric snowblower. So if you're looking to save a little money and don't mind a little less runtime, then go with the fan favorite and pick the one that comes with the two 5-amp batteries. In this case, this model. So what we're looking at right here is the EGO as it stands after delivery and full assembly. So one, let's take a look at what is in the EGO box, and then two, we'll go into how much is needed to assemble this. As you know, somebody who's not terribly proficient with things like this, I'm going to give you a hint, it was really easy. What we're looking at here is actually everything that comes in the box for the EGO snowblower, and this is pretty much how it comes. It also does come with the rapid charger and two batteries, and I'll flash those up on screen only because, well, I had to take those out and charge them, and it didn't just work in this shot because that box over there that it comes in is rather cumbersome. So just think about it. It's pretty much fully assembled except for the chute, which you then attach to your chute area with the included hex key. But the handle is just folded down, and if we come over here, pretty much what we do is we flip the handle back, tighten down these lugs, and lock them into place. So what we're going to do next is I'm going to, do the handle, flip it back, assemble it that way, and I will attach the chute so you can kind of see what that looks like. And then, like I said, this is kind of how it comes right out of the box. So just keep in mind, for me, I had to go to my local Ace Hardware to pick this up because, well, it would not ship to me. So make sure you have a vehicle capable of actually fitting the pretty much complete unit in your car. All right, so what we're going to do is you grab this and you bring it back, and then we just continue until we get it into this position, and then we'll just tighten down those two lugs there, and then click our lock-ins in place. So lighting in situationally, this isn't the best, but you can see I've unhooked this side already so that I can kind of come in here and tighten, which if I can focus on that instead of my arm, tighten down the screw thusly. You know, once we get it to a point that I can say, all right, so I've over-tightened that side, so we're gonna loosen it up a little bit. And then what we're looking for is that we can fully engage the locking mechanism here. So we're just gonna drop that a little bit, loosen it a little more. See, we've almost got it. And then you continue to play with it until you find your sweet spot. So I will show you the end product so I don't fiddle with this around the camera so you're staring at my arm. Here we can see they are locked into place. There is a very fine ballet that you have to do. If you see right here, there actually is a channel, and you kind of wiggle back and forth between both sides to screwing them in and finding just the right tension to lock these in. You don't want them overly tightened, but you don't want them so loose that the handle's going to jiggle on you. So you just kind of work it from side to side until you find the sweet spot, and then both sides will engage and your handle will be in place, as you can see there. Next, using the included hex key right here, and again, apologize for the lighting, I don't have optimal lighting in my garage. Using the included hex key, you can take these two screws out, they do come with a washer, and then you take your snow chute, which I will back this out a little more. You just take your grooved portion here, line it up towards the back, and slip it in. And this way your hex keys will line up there. And if you want, you just kind of make sure that it's moving the way that it should be. So it's all the way to the left. All right, so next we just tighten them down again with the hex key and we'll be good to go. And there we go, the snow chute is fully assembled and attached. And if we come over here, 100% rotatable. So really the only thing that you have to install is the snow chute. The rest of it comes assembled and you'll be good to go. And just as an aside, as long as you are careful, you can actually totally close this up and store it with the snow chute still on, so you can hide it in whatever corner you want to save on space in your garage. So that's a plus in my book. All right, so you saw what was in the box, you got that rapid charger, you get the 2 batteries, and you saw it pretty much came fully assembled except for the snow chute right there. The snowblower itself is made up of primarily plastic, and a lot of EGO's products are plastic, one, to help weatherproof it, but to cut down on cost and to cut down on the weight. So as you see, the entirety of it is pretty much plastic, even the chute is plastic. Really, the business end here, which is the snow box and the snow chute and so forth, that is going to be metal. Now that is 21 inches across of clearing path, and the rotation blade in there is actually rubberized. But what we're going to do is we're going to come in close, kind of give you a walk around, and then bring you back to the business end and then the controls up here, so you get a nice idea of what this is like. I'm kind of going with the QVC model, know before you buy video style. Okay, coming in for a closer look here. Like I said, the majority of the housing itself is plastic. The front blower box is your metal portion here. The wheels, again, since this is the single stage option, these wheels are actually plastic. They do have nice grips on them, so hopefully that'll help you in the snow. I mean, realistically, if you use a Toro snowblower, you have these as well. It's not until you get to the 2-stage options that you start getting rubberized tires. Over here we have our clamps. There is one on each side. You saw in assembly, this is how you fold your handle back and lock it into place. Up top here, we have our battery compartment, and I'll swing across this way and open it up. So you place your 2 5-amp batteries or the 7.5 amp, depending on which ones you got. That's why the battery housing compartment here is so large. You also have your battery indicator and your LED headlight switch. And I will demonstrate that in a little bit, but for safety purposes, we are going to keep the batteries out of there, especially since we're going to be working with the business end. Of the entirety of the EGO construction, the battery compartment lid here is the cheapest feeling. It's very light plastic in comparison to the rest of the EGO snowblower. We're going to come around here to the snow chute itself. It is a variable snow chute, so we can come up here and grab this handle, and we can adjust the trajectory of the snow chute. So there you go. It's grab the handle, squeeze, and then you can tell it how you want it to come out. It is also rotatable, but that is utilizing the handle options up there, which we will get to in a moment. We're going to come across here to the other side just so you get a full view. There you go. 21-inch clearing width. They have branding all over the snowblower. I did take most of it off, but some of it, like this, is actually like kind of decaled right onto the snowblower itself. So what we're going to do now is we are going to come across to the business end here, and what I've done simply to make filming a little easier is I have actually collapsed the handle and tilted it back so that we can actually see in here a little more. So right now you see the double bladed rubberized heavy rubber gauged paddle here for launching your snow up into your snow chute. You will see on either side, there and there, those are actually, and they're shiny because of my lights, but those are actually where the battery housings are. So if you notice, it kind of cuts down on the amount of snow moving that you can have, because you've got this wide open space down here, these 2 battery compartments, and then the chute even slims down further. What I'm going to end up doing is an old trick that my grandfather used to do with his snowblower, even though it was a gas snowblower. I'll throw some car wax on there to help move snow through the chute and everything. On either side, you can see shining, they're not on, but my lights up top are kind of reflecting off of there. You've got a set of 3 LEDs on either side, so giving you a total of 6. And I will say, and I'll roll in a little footage here, I did test them in the corner of my garage, and they do very nicely. So it is nice to have that option for if you're snow blowing a little later into the evening. There also is your scraper bar right down here. Now this is, again, another piece that is plastic, and I'll come down, show you like that. So you can see it's really only held in place by 5 screws right there. And a lot of the reviews I saw say that this gets chipped up very easily, especially if you have an uneven driveway. And my driveway, I do have a couple of things that will need repairing eventually. I'm sure after my first usage of this, it is going to get destroyed. We're going to come back out here, and we're transitioning to our control portion of the EGO Snow Blower. As I mentioned, just down there you can kind of see your battery indicators, but we want to talk about up here. In the middle, if you are familiar with any EGO products, in order to engage, one, you first have to make sure the batteries are in place, and there you can see I've added both of my batteries. I will say that the ones that come with the EGO snowblower here are the new ones, so they are the ones that let you know how much battery is left. I do appreciate that. I do like EGO as a product, but the older batteries were garbage. I love the ones that come with the indicator light. So again, if you're familiar with that, you will hold down on this button, and then right here you can see there is a bar which you will have to depress and hold in order to actuate everything. Over here on the left, they actually have a little speed controller right there. And we'll just tilt things so that you can see that. So unlike the Toro that I used a long time ago when I lived with my parents, theirs was a single stage and it was 1 speed all the time. This, you can actually crank up your speed or lower it depending on your usage. Obviously, if you crank it up, the battery usage will also decrease because you're using more power. The other thing on the EGO that I like that was not on my parents' Toro is this. This is a control for your snow chute. Now, what we're gonna do is I'm just gonna kind of tilt the camera a little bit so you can actually kind of see the handle in the lower right and then the snow chute up there. And what I mean is I can fully rotate that without having to stop and put the snow chute in the direction that I actually want it to be in. Now, for me, that is awesome, as it's something that I'm not used to unless it was on a 2-stage snowblower, which I used to use up in my grandfather's. So having an option like this on a single stage, you might be asking yourself, well, the price I'm paying for it, why am I paying so much? Those are the options that you're gonna get, and that's why you're paying for it. Obviously, if we're in the control area, we want to see, well, how do things look when I start it and how does it sound? So what we're going to do is I will actually start the EGO and have a camera up front there in the blade section so you can see it and hear it as I crank it up and turn up the speed. So we're going to actuate this now. Remember, safety first, nobody else is around, don't stick your hands in the propellers. That's rule number 1. And actuate. You can see the batteries themselves are indicating that it's on. You have the machine itself indicating that it's on. Hopefully you can hear me. It is in its lowest setting, so what we're going to do now is we're going to crank this up slowly so you can hear and see as the blade increases in speed. Almost at max. And max throwing capacity. And we'll bring it back down. And stop. Now you'll see that the indicator lights on the top did tell me how much battery I had used. I just want you to know that's not just for me running this little test for the video. I actually have been playing with it, so don't think it's going to eat your battery that quickly. Coming down just to show you what it looks like with the batteries actually in there and that extra spacing I was talking about for the 7.5 milliamp batteries as opposed to the 5. I don't know if you noticed, but I ran this test in my garage with my door shut to keep it nice and warm in here. That is one of the benefits of a battery powered as opposed to a gas powered. You don't have to worry about fumes, you don't have to worry about the neighbors because, well, nobody heard me running this test, and you can run this into the wee hours of the morning and not disturb your neighbors. So consider that when factoring in the overall price. It's very simple to get your actual batteries out. See the tab right here? You just press and the battery pops out. Similarly, putting the battery in, just push until you hear it click and it locks it into place. As much as I would love to test this on some sawdust or leaves to show you how well, in air quotes, it works, so I can get the video out there, I am of the mindset that this is a snowblower and I will only test it using actual snow. As luck may have it, through the magic of editing, you won't know how long it took me to actually get to a point where I got some snow. Boom, snow. Alright, so it chewed up the paddle a little bit more than I thought it would, but all in all, not bad for its first go out in the snow. Finally got to test it on some real snow out there, and I'm gonna say it handled very well for what it is, being a single stage snowblower. Electric versus gas, I didn't really feel that this was underpowered in any way, shape, or form. And based on the 2 battery system that it has, I had full runtime to clean my entire driveway. Granted, it's not a 1.5 mile long driveway, so keep that in mind. Yours might be different. But for most smaller residential, this should be perfectly fine. There are a couple of things to consider. First being over here on the top, where your battery compartment is. No matter how much you brush this off, you're probably going to get, and you might be able to see it, there was some drippage in there, but that was from snow popping off of that, even though I wiped it away. Another thing, in the video you saw snow being blasted everywhere. Again, it was a mixture of heavy snow with some powdery snow, but you saw the top of that became unusable unless you want to constantly brushing it off. So that is why your light designation down there is important. You can see there's a little lip there that actually prevents that from getting really snow filled. So that was really good. Trying to clamp those off afterwards was a little tricky, even with gloves on. You brush the snow off. That is a minor nuisance. Coming up to the handles and everything, this was great. I love being able to rotate the snow chute without having to reach down there each time. Once I got the angle or trajectory where I wanted it, this took care of everything else. I did start off with the slowest setting and then work my way to about the medium for most stuff, and then for your end of the driveway, I just cranked it all the way up. And then kind of forgot about it and just left it there for the rest of the time. Snow chute didn't have any issues with. I really, the construction was good, mobility of it was good. Changing the trajectory, easy. What you're probably interested in is how did the blade and snow box hold up? So let's zoom in and take a look at that. Take a closer look at how things are after the first snowstorm use. We'll come in here, kind of concentrate on the paddles themselves. You can see I did take it out a couple times. We did have 8 to 12 inches, depending on where I was measuring. So this is the wear after just one use. I do not have concrete. I have asphalt with a couple of uneven areas. So I feel that the weakest point of this is actually going to be this blade, which is just, heavy gauge rubber. Thankfully, it is replaceable. If we kind of look, I got some grass kind of stuck in there for where I went a little over, but the rest of the interior here looks pretty good. And I did test it not using the wax trick just to see how things would go first off, and it wasn't as bad as I thought. The snow that was being blown was not slush, so it was a mixture of heavier snow. It definitely was not white powdery, but it was not slush, so I'm going to call it the intermediate snow. I had to handle it like a champ. So that is a close-up there. Kind of come over here, because I can't tell if it's just some discoloration because I had it sitting, or if there's rust starting. No, it's not rust. It's just, if I can focus that, just some discoloration from where I had it sitting. So one thing is, if you're going to be using this in a garage, or storing it in a garage, make sure you get a mat or something. That was something I did not consider, even though I kind of cleaned it off. Still had a little bit of drippage. Overall, I am very satisfied with the EGO 21-inch single-stage snowblower here. And I would highly recommend it, especially if you're going to be investing in the EGO products. Remember, these batteries are interchangeable with all other EGO products. So if you've got a battery backup of a couple different machines, even while these are charging in the rapid charger, your snowblower does come with a rapid charger, which I'll admit is a step up from the regular charger that you get with a lot of the EGO products. In this case, the 5 amp batteries, which are just sitting off camera right there, on a regular charger take about an hour 40 minutes or an hour and a half to charge. On the rapid charger, same size battery, takes 40 minutes. And you can see there's actually an indicator up here as opposed to on the regular one, which is just a blinking light. So this is a step in the right direction, especially if you only have the snowblower and 2 batteries. So within 80 minutes, you'll be able to get back out and blowing snow. You can put a new set in here and continue working. You won't be getting a double-sided rapid charger like you would if you got the 7.5 amp batteries. But for most residential people, this should do you just fine. Like, I'm very happy with it. I'm definitely going to continue filling out my EGO product line. Probably continue getting them from Ace Hardware as well, because that seems to be the best place. One, if you're in the market for a electric battery-powered snowblower, highly recommend the EGO single-stage 21-inch snowblower here. If you're looking for a place to purchase said snowblower, definitely recommend checking out Ace Hardware if you have one in your location. I have been Wanderer001. If you have any questions or comments, please feel free to leave them in the area below. And as always, thanks for watching. If you found this video helpful, consider giving it a like, as that will help other people find the video as well. If you like what I'm doing here, you can always help fuel the next review by buying me a coffee, link in the description below. Last but not least, if you want to be notified when I upload a new video, you know what to do.